Hey friend, listen, if you're stepping into a new year and you're feeling the pressure to figure everything out, this is your reminder and an invitation to pause. Before you set your goals, make your plans, decide what's next, what if you chose connection before direction? I created a free reflection guide called Connection Before Direction to help you slow down, reconnect to what matters, and notice what you may be carrying out of habit, not alignment. This isn't a planner or a reset or a resolution. It's a calm, intentional pause designed for high achieving women just like you who want 2026 to feel different, not just look different. You can download the free guide right now at martinewilliams.com/connect. That's martinewilliams.com/connect. Because clarity doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from reconnecting first. Welcome to the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast, where you will learn simple solutions to win at work without losing at home. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I am your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business by elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl, to procrastinating on your goals and living in overwhelm. And it's time to say hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits so that you can achieve work-life harmony. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast. Let's do this. Well, happy New Year, friend. If you are listening to this on January 1st, I want to begin by saying Happy New Year. Hope you had an amazing holiday season. Maybe some of you are still celebrating that, but thank you for tuning into the episode today. My name is Martine Williams. I am your CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer, and I want to begin by offering you something you don't hear very often this time of year. I just want you to take a deep breath and realize you don't need to rush into this year. You don't need to have clarity yet. You don't need to have a full plan, and you don't need to pressure yourself into becoming someone new overnight. Today's episode is not about doing more. It's about leading differently. And we've been talking about that continuously on this podcast because this is what I'm seeing is that we try to push, we try to work harder, and it's not about working harder or even smarter. It's about leading yourself differently. And the most important question you can ask as you step into a new year isn't what do I want to do? It is important, but it's not the most important question. The question is, who am I becoming? Or who do I need to become to achieve what I want to achieve? So if you attended my virtual live experience that I did a couple of weeks ago, this is what we were talking about, becoming the woman who creates the life that she wants. And there's 5 essential skills. And if you missed it, I'm going to be redoing it in 2026. So stay tuned to my email list for that. You can go to martinewilliams.com and get on my VIP glow up list. And more details about that will be shared later. It'll be coming out probably in January, sometime this month. But this is an important piece because goals alone aren't enough. I mean, actually, as a high achieving woman, you're probably very good at setting goals. You know how to plan, you know how to execute, you know how to push through, you know how to make things happen. You're a high achieving woman. But here's what I've seen again and again in my coaching and that I've experienced in my own life is that when goals lead without identity, the pressure takes over, the hustle comes in, the performance comes in. But when identity leads, the alignment follows. The goals may answer what, the identity answers how and why, which are the better questions to answer or to ask yourself. How you show up determines how your life feels. So many of you might step into a new year carrying expectations that you've not even consciously chose, right? Expectations like, I should be more productive. How many of you that's on your resolution list? I should have more figured out by now. I should want more. I should be further along. I should be better at balancing it all. Those shoulds, number one, create shame. And we've talked about this before. Shame blocks wisdom. And if you're shaming yourself, it's going to be really hard for you to move forward. So catch all the shoulds, all those expectations. because they quietly shape your pace, your self-talk, your capacity, your confidence, your joy. And before long, you are leading from obligation instead of intention. And that just doesn't feel good. Like, have you ever done something out of obligation, but you know it wasn't something you really wanted to do or you had intended to do? You just did it because you felt obligated. Like, it just doesn't feel good, right? This year doesn't need another version of you who's trying harder. You are well versed in that. It needs a version of you who's leading herself with clarity and compassion. Clarity and compassion. So instead of this year starting with a list, I want to invite you into a different starting place, identity. So I want you to ask yourself, how do I want to feel as I move through my days? What kind of leader do I want to be in my home, my work, and my life? What do I want to have more capacity for? What no longer fits the woman I'm becoming? Remember, we talked about the future self, what no longer fits with her. Identity work doesn't rush, so don't rush through these questions. It doesn't rush, it roots. This is going to root you in the actions that you're going to take in 2026. So if you have to pause this episode and write those questions down, I did create a self-reflection connection before direction guide that you can go to martinewilliams.com/connect and download. It has some questions on there, probably questions that you have not asked yourself yet, or maybe never asked yourself when you think about the new year. So go to martinewilliams.com/connect, and there'll be some additional questions for you to go through. But this is really important for you to take some time and do this, because when you lead from identity, decisions become clearer. Boundaries become easier. Pace becomes wiser. You're not just hustling and on the hamster wheel of life. Discipline becomes supportive, not punishing, right? So, as I shared in the last episode, the word that I'm carrying into this year is connect. Connection to my mission, connection to my community, connection to my family, connection to myself. And I honestly feel like so many of you and the world is starving for a connection. In a world where we can easily connect, we are more disconnected than we've ever been. For me, this word isn't just inspirational, it's directional. So when faced with a decision, I can ask, does this deepen the connection or pull me away from it? Does this align with who I'm becoming? Does this support the life that I want to lead, not just the outcomes I want to create? I want to lead this year from desire and purpose on whole new levels, so I can direct my discipline wisely instead of letting it kind of run my life. Talked to you about that in a separate episode, the difference in discipline and desire. And I invite you to choose a word or a value or an identity that does the same for you. Maybe it is a word for the year. Maybe it's just a core value. Or maybe it is like, this is who I want to become. So let's slow down with a short reflection that you can return to anytime this week. You might want to pause. You can write these down. It might be right now you're just going to simply listen. But here are some more questions for you to think through. Quick pause. If you've been listening and you're ready to stop performing your life and start leading it, if you know you're ready to feel better now, not later, and you're ready for support that actually creates sustainable transformation, I have private one-on-one coaching spots open. And inside this coaching, in Illuminate You Coaching, we don't guess. We use your unique personality blueprint built from the science-backed personality and performance tool called the ProScan, the one you've heard me talk about here in the podcast. This is used so that every decision, every boundary, every shift is designed specifically around your wiring, not someone else's. This is my aligned success method. It's not hacks. It's not try harder. It's not mindset glitter. It's a real solution. It's rooted in science, strategy, and your unique design. So you can lead your life as the woman you actually are, not the woman others expect you to be. Now is the time. Take the step. Book your clarity call at martinewilliams.com/clarity. All right, back to the episode. And I want you to ask yourself, and I don't want you to just ask it because we're really good at asking the questions, but are you spending the time answering it? Who am I becoming in this season of my life? What does this version of me value most? I think about my 20 years in entrepreneurship and as a mom, like there were different seasons, different versions of me that valued different things, right? So is there something, a version of you that you want to value most? What does this version of you, who you're becoming, what is she valuing right now? I'm valuing connection. What does she protect? So, this version of you, what does she protect? How does she respond under pressure? What does she say yes to, and what does she release? This isn't about becoming better, it's about becoming more aligned, more grounded, more confident, more you, more of you. And once identity is clear, goals stop feeling heavy. Because again, just like a marathon runner runs, the actions just follow. Once you're very clear on this is who I'm becoming, the actions just follow super clear. Your identity becomes expressions, not expectations, right? Your goals will become more expressions of who you are, not expectations that you're placing on yourself. And that's a whole nother feeling, way to feel and be and operate when you think about goal setting in 2026. So instead of asking, what should I do this year? You can ask that one, but I want you to also ask, what supports who I'm becoming? What supports me in my business? What supports me in my relationships with who I'm becoming? That could look like how you spend your time, how you spend your resources. Is this the time for you to step into some support in the way of coaching or mentorship? What supports who I'm becoming? That shift will change everything because you stop chasing and you start choosing intentionally. You stop performing and you start leading. So, as you step into this new year, I want you to hear this very clearly. You don't need to force your momentum. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to become someone else. You get to become more yourself. And this is the foundation of the work that I do inside Illuminate You Coaching is to help you understand yourself on a level that you've probably never before. My clients are like, "Oh, that makes so much more sense now. Why that's harder for me or why I have tendencies to do this." And so there's so much power with you understanding yourself at that level. So we don't need a new you necessarily. Yes, there's becoming seasons, right, where we're stepping and growing our capacity, stepping and growing our self concept. But how you're wired is uniquely designed for you. And when you get in touch with that, you do make decisions more clearly. You do honor your priorities even more with confidence versus like the guilt that comes with setting those boundaries. It allows you to be more intentional. And I remember that word being one of my words for the year. And maybe that is yours that you're going to have this year. Like you just want to be more intentional. Well, the way to be more intentional is getting super clear on who you are, what's the version of you your goals are going to require. And then you can make clear decisions from then. You're not living in the land of indecision. You can be very intentional about your time, what you invest in, what you don't invest in, what you say yes to, so you can have your best yeses. And there's a lot less pressure. So allow yourself to think through these questions and to spend some time to get in alignment so that you're not operating from obligation, to be connected so you're not just performing all of the actions with a disconnect to the real reasons why you're doing it and who you are in the process. And trust that who you are becoming will shape everything you build. As you grow your self-concept, as we said, it's the who before the how. These are questions that are going to help you to answer the who question. And when you start answering those questions, you gain your confidence back. You gain self-trust back. You start taking intentional action, not perfect, but intentional steps towards the things that you want to create in 2026. And you do it from a very connected version of yourself who wants to do these things. Not all the things, maybe you're like, I don't want to go to the gym, but you can choose to think differently about yourself and who you need to become so that you will actually go to the gym. So these are all things that we talk about in my coaching. Again, if you want the free downloadable guide, it's connection before direction. Get into connection before you start directing yourself. You can go to martinewilliams.com/connect. And I'm excited for 2026. This is a big year for me, y'all. It's 20 years as an entrepreneur, and I'm turning 50. So it's a big year. I'm excited for some new things that I'm going to be offering in 2026 for all of you in the way of the podcast and trainings and in-person opportunities. So I can't wait to share more of that with you as I get clearer and clearer on that. But until next time, I want to encourage you to keep leading your life with intention. Keep asking the questions that help you to tap into the woman that you're becoming so that you can create the life that you want. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again, and until next time, I am believing in you always.